Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. This time, it's one of the most talked about fragrance releases of 2021. Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum. This is a flanker to Ombre Leather in the signature line, which was released, I think, in 2019. I reviewed that one, which was a flanker to Ombre Leather 16, released back in 2016, part of the private blend line. Now this one is the latest release, and this is one of the most hyped releases of 2021, I would say, after Sauvage Elixir, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. So you can check that one out. In fact, I'll actually think about what link I'll leave at the end of this video. Quite a few ideas in my mind. So what I've done is I've got an official sample. I got 2 ml, whatever it is. I got another one which I've finished. So I've tested it about 7 or 8 times, all across late summer, early autumn. At the moment, this is November 1st, and I have drawn up my conclusions. It was a bit difficult. Initially, when I first sampled it, this fragrance did not impress me. So I thought maybe because the weather is a bit warm, I tried it again, it didn't impress me again. So I left it again till when it became a little bit cold, and now I'm enjoying it. So, released 2021, Parfum Sonia Constant. I'm not going to do a fresh spray. 2 reasons for that. I've got a very nice dry down on my wrist, and the other reason is I don't like the opening. So, when you first spray it, you get many things. One is obviously the leather, which is borrowed from Tuscan leather. So you get that leather in the opening. Only too thin. It's too thin. Too many layers missing. So when you call a fragrance parfum, you would expect a full-bodied experience, a rich experience. This one has none of that. It's not full-bodied, it's not rich when you first spray it. There's also very strange sort of sweetness, which is slightly chalky and quite a bit waxy. Almost as if you're sniffing a crayon. It's that waxy. So the opening is not my favorite. But that opening lasts for about, I would say, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then it starts to transform. When it starts to transform, that's when it becomes it becomes pretty interesting. So I like it a lot. And I enjoy it. But not as much as Tuscan leather. Yeah. So I'm giving a few things away here. So how does the fragrance progress? The fragrance progresses by, so forget that opening, which I didn't like. And then there's this violet flower. So this fragrance is among those fragrances, leather fragrances, that fall in the floral leather category. Sweet floral leather category. So Ombre Leather, which was released 2 years ago, that's in that category. Cuir de Russie, which has this very creamy floral leather, which is again not my favorite. The EDP from Chanel, that's again a floral leather. So it falls in that floral leather category. So here the floral is violet leaf or violet flower, and I get that violet flower, but it's too obscured. It doesn't shine through. And later on, that violet flower starts to shine. Yeah, and we'll come to the dry down. So violet flower, orris, creamy, sort of Fahrenheit-like smell, mixed with the little lighter, airy version of Tuscan leather's leather, mixed with a little hint of tobacco, very slight hint of tobacco. Here the leather starts to mature and go in a different direction, and that different direction is brand new car-like smell. So imagine Fahrenheit, make it a little bit creamy, and mix it with the smell of getting inside a brand new car, but not very expensive car. It doesn't smell like very expensive car leather. It smells like a mid-range car's leather. Yeah, brand new though, very new leather, not worn leather. That's how it smells. In the dry down is when I get the warmth that I was expecting. When you call a fragrance ombre, you expect amber or ambery warmth. The fragrance has that creaminess in the middle stage, and then it has this warmth. And I really enjoy the late dry down. which is this dry down at the moment on my wrist is about 14 hours old, and I'm getting little powdery new leather smell with little warmth of amber, slightly creamy violet leaf flower smell, and little bit of dry woodiness like cedar vetiver combination. So that's the smell. Long progress from something that didn't impress me to something that interested me, and then it became a little bit more impressive in the end. That's the journey of the fragrance. So pros and cons. Number one pro, if you like Fahrenheit and if you like creamy new leather suede kind of a smell, you will like this fragrance. You will enjoy this fragrance. This fragrance is very modern. Yeah. So modernity is a big deal here with the ombre leather thing. They brought a leather which was Tuscan leather, which obviously was not everybody's favorite, and brought it into the mainstream by using jasmine in ombre leather. And in Ombre Leather Parfum, here jasmine is present. I forgot to mention, jasmine is quite present, but the actual floral which does the job is the violet flower. Yeah, and that's why it smells a little bit like Fahrenheit to me. A little bit. So number one pro of this fragrance is if you like mainstream fragrances and if you want a leather fragrance in the mainstream category, there is a good wearable mainstream impression, or a leather fragrance that leaves an impression on people who necessarily are not fragrance aficionados. That's number one. That's the aim of this release, I would say. Number two, very long fragrance, yeah, long journey. So if you don't like the opening, which is quite waxy to my nose, you might like the middle, like I did, and you might really enjoy the dry down. If you like amber, proper amber, warm, proper amber, you probably will be disappointed because the fragrance is called Ombre Leather, and this is the same disappointment I had with the previous release. So that's the second sort of upside. It's a long fragrance. There are many facets you like. I quite like the creamy Fahrenheit-like smell, a little bit. I enjoyed it because Fahrenheit happens to be one of my favorite fragrances. Third one, compliment factor. Now these sort of fragrances are for the masses, and it's been designed and created in a way that will get you a compliment, definitely, because it's a very uber modern masculine kind of a thing. I wouldn't say it's masculine, but it's very modern. Yeah. So those are the sort of fragrances which get you compliment, and it also smells expensive. The leather is brand new, doesn't smell like expensive leather, but the whole fragrance in general smells expensive, higher end. Now the downsides, performance. The longevity of the fragrance is amazing, as you can say. You see, this is a very long dry down, very old dry down. I sprayed one spray at about 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. So it's about 14 hours and it's still going beautifully on my skin. So longevity is not a problem. Problem is projection. And the projection is quite muted because the fragrance sort of behaves in a very strange way. It's a parfum, right? And it behaves in a very strange way. When the fragrance gets a little bit of your warmth, so if you trap the fragrance between your shirt and your skin, it just keeps gunning. So much so that you start to feel a little bit suffocated. If you went 2 sprays, which I have done, between my jumper, shirt and my skin, I started to get very strong wafts. So the fragrance is very high quality material. Hence you get tremendous sillage, brilliant sillage. Excuse me. But the performance isn't one that would get you noticed across the room, that kind of stuff. Yeah, longevity is perfect, but projection is the issue here, and that's the downside. Number 2 downside: no distinct storyline here. If you smelled Ombre Leather 16, it's a beautiful story. Ombre Leather, EDP or whatever it was, that's a nice story. It's been done. Ombre Leather Parfum doesn't magnify that story, doesn't take it to the next level. It's somewhere between I like it to I really don't like it that much. It's that sort of thing. It's not very impressive. It's not a distinct story. It's not something that you jump up and say, I really want a bottle of that. And the third downside has to be the value for money. It is way too expensive for what it is. 100 ml, 140. Now that sort of money is quite expensive for what you're getting. As I mentioned, if you're a big fan of Tuscan leather, you'll probably want to stick with Tuscan leather. I'm a big fan of this La Yukuam by Rosasi. I love Tuscan leather. So it didn't impress me enough to shell £140 because I can get this for $75. And this is one of the most amazing leather fragrances. Based on Tuscan leather. Absolutely amazing fragrance. So spending 140 would be a problem, and that would be the third downside. So let's talk about age groups and seasons. Seasons, cold weather. It smells the best. I've tested it many times now. Autumn, winter, probably the best for this fragrance. Quite easily, actually. Age groups, 25 to 45, maybe even higher. So it's been targeted towards the younger crowd. It is quite unisex, to be honest. It doesn't leave me with the impression that this is a masculine leather scent. It is unisex, yeah. Or sometimes leaning feminine, just like Ombre Leather, the previous version, because of jasmine. Yeah, jasmine and that waxy, lipsticky smell, not lipsticky, but waxy creaminess that makes the fragrance a little bit feminine, just a little bit, less so than its previous version. Compliment factor I've covered, occasions to wear this to, quite versatile. Cold weather, versatile. So you can easily wear this to work. Your first date, your regular date, your friend circle, social gatherings, you can easily wear this to any occasions. It will be quite widely accepted. You wouldn't have any issues fitting in. So not challenging at all. Very nice fragrance for people who are just wanting to get into leather fragrances and quite like modern, sexy kind of fragrance which doesn't lean too masculine. It's for them. So marks out of 10. I would say 7 out of 10. As I said, the reasons I like it, there are many reasons I don't like it. So 7 out of 10 I think is a fair number for this sort of fragrance, fair score for this fragrance. I hope you enjoy the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.